stalwarts of the Indian mutual fund industry. We spoke to them about trends. Swarup Mohanty of Mirae Asset, Nilesh Shah of Kotak Mutual Fund, and AMFI chairman Mr. Venkatesh as well. They talked a little bit about the history of the industry, the magic of compounding, and trends going forward. Listen in.
The journey has been very, very amazing journey. It's an eventful journey, I would say. We had started off as a very small organization where the founding fathers like Mr. Kurian had taken the steps to visualize about this organization. And from there, we have moved a long way. Over the years, the AMFI has played a pivotal role in setting up the best practices for the industry, which ensure that there is transparency and disclosures, which brought in a huge amount of trust for the investors to invest into the mutual fund industry. Mutual fund industry has grown over a period, has contributed to the overall Indian economy in great terms. I believe that this journey would not have been happened successfully, but for the support extended to us by Securities Exchange Board of India, the Government of India, and Reserve Bank of India. The collective efforts put in by the AMCs and the distributors and other intermediaries who have worked for this particular mutual fund industry has played a pivotal role again to ensure that the industry is growing at a very rapid clip. And AMFI has supported through the investor awareness campaigns that it has run. So it brought in a lot of inclusion into the mutual fund industry, where we could say that the industry has now become a widespread industry. Instead of earlier, it used to be localized to the urban and metropolitan sort of a landscape. It has moved to the rural, the tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. I really congratulate the entire AMCs and the entire team at AMFI for completing this 25 years.
Oh, indeed, it is a landmark moment nonetheless, for sure. Nilesh, if I could get you in the conversation, because you also have been instrumental in hand-holding investors realize their financial goals. When one talks about power of compounding as a concept, it's known by everyone, but followed by very few. What do you really think does it take from the investors to stay invested for a long period of time and realize the fruits of the power of compounding, wherein you just have to sit pretty and you know that over a period of time you're going to create tremendous wealth?
It's always easy to know what is right thing to do, but always very difficult to do what is right thing. All of us know eating junk food is bad for health, but how many of us are able to stay away from it? All of us know jogging, exercising is good for health, but how many of us are able to do it? And which is where AMFI has played a stellar role in educating investors through its mutual fund Sahi Hai campaign. More importantly, financial inclusion has been hallmark of AMFI with spread in B30 cities. Today, more than 15% of our AUM is coming from B30 cities. These are the places where knowledge for financial awareness is necessary, and we have played a small role in spreading financial inclusion as well as investor awareness. We have also increased transparency and disclosure. Probably it's best in the world. We believe sunshine is the best disinfectant, and transparency and disclosure will eventually improve confidence. Over 25 years, AMFI has stood for one thing. If we have investors' trust and confidence, we will eventually gain their pocket share. But if we do anything which will lose investors' trust and confidence, then pocket share disappears in no time. And over the last 25 years, we have taken several steps in this journey, as Mr. Venkatesh mentioned, with the guidance of SEBI and other regulators like RBI and Finance Ministry, to ensure that investors' trust remains with mutual funds. And hopefully, once you have trust, you will figure out that this is the right thing to do to get long-term compounding in your favor.
Swarup, if I could get you in, passive instruments have been very popular globally but haven't quite taken off as much in India. What do you think could be the reason? You think alpha creation has a very big role to play here?
Yes, I mean, we are at a very interesting position as we speak, and I'm very happy you asked that question. Because, see, looking at the track record over the last 25 years, you can't take away anything from the industry on the track record they have put on the part of business. But as we speak, two things are happening. One, the alpha creation will have to have new ways of finding alpha. And number two, the underlying demography of investors, and that goes with the country, is also changing. So gone are those days, I feel, when we were talking about whether it was alpha active versus passive. I think we are getting into a genre where we will talk about active plus passive. And with the advent of a complete holistic financial planning model going forward, I do believe COVID is that trigger which was needed for a financial planning process to start and a proper goal-based approach of all investors to start. The underlying advisors and the distributors will find those paths through a combination of active and passive going forward, is my belief. I mean, and that's where the industry is gearing up. And I'm very happy to say that most of us are now spending enough amount of time in building products on that side, and we'll see some exciting times on that side going forward. The only caveat I'd like to leave behind is not to get into any conjecturing whether this is better or that is better. Both have places in everybody's portfolio. And more important, the product which suits the goal of the investor should be focused on, rather than spending meaningless time in trying to find out which is better. I do believe a combination of both going forward will be better for the investors as we speak.
Mr. Venkatesh, what AMFI brings with it is credibility and trust. As an industry body, what steps are you taking to enhance investor experience as well as investor knowledge at a time when, last few years have been a little rough? You've seen a few odd episodes with few FMPs last year, or for that matter, even the Franklin episode, wherein the investor trust has gotten a little bit shaken.
I would say that those instances are rare and far and few between. But despite that, the industry's trust is kept on even keel. That is essentially because of the work put in by AMFI, as well as the work put in by the AMCs collectively in investor education, in ensuring that the investors are kept abreast of what is happening, and also telling them that what is the right thing for them to do at this particular point of time, and also at every point of time. So I think there AMFI has played a great role in conducting investor awareness campaigns through the Mutual Fund Sahi Hai campaign, as well as outside of the Mutual Fund Sahi Hai campaign. We have done investor awareness campaigns. Even during this period of COVID, we have been running successfully lots of webinars where we go to the interior centers and try and talk to the students, to the housewives, to the college-going people, and also to the faculty of various universities through webinars, and try and spread this education to a large extent. So I think we have risen up to the occasion even during this COVID period, where we have used technology to a great extent instead of physical trainings. We have done through the digital sort of trainings, and that has been most welcomed by most of the potential investors as well as the regular investors that are there, which is evidenced by the fact that despite a lot of tumultuous events happening, the SIP book, which we have been talking to them, that SIP is the right mode of investment, and the SIP book, which used to be around 8,000 crore, is somewhere around 7,800 crore per month coming in, which is a testimony to the fact that the investor interest and the investor trust continues to remain with the mutual fund industry.
Nilesh, since the pandemic hit, we've seen a large emergence of an entire clan and a fraternity of Robin Hood traders or work from home traders, new time investors getting into the market. How do you think the mutual fund industry can cash in on this phenomena where people are sitting at home and trading more, but hasn't quite translated itself into mutual funds so far?
Sure. So before I answer that, I just want to add to what Mr. Venkatesh mentioned. Certainly, as you correctly mentioned, since September 2018, there's been some credit events in mutual fund. And before that, also in certain FMPs, we had faced credit event. The best way to resolve and maintain investors' trust and confidence is to ensure that we are able to enforce security, recover the money, and pay it back to the investors. Fortunately, in most fixed maturity plans, we were able to do it. We were able to recover money with accrued interest and pay back investors, except for a brief delay of 6 months. They were able to get all the money which they were required. So clearly, as mutual fund industry, we can't be immune from the environment.
All right, let's